So I'm Tash. I am insanely excited to be here. I came to this event when it was run last time, and it's really great to see the investment in it keeps running. Events like these are so important, not just for students, not just for young women looking to come into the industry, but they're important for us as recruiters, for people that work in industry, for our managers. And for guys too, it's really great to see the investment and the importance of this. So again, my name's Tash, I work at Capital M. Preparing for today was actually, it was fun. It was easy because this is a topic I'm really passionate about. The hard bit was doing the picture. I've mentioned this before, if you've heard me speak. I don't do smiling very well when someone goes to take a picture. I do this weird Chandler smile, for those of you that ever watch Friends. As soon as you go to take the picture, I kind of gurn a little bit and I try and smile and it goes awful. So this is actually the best of a bad bunch. In fact, this is the bad bunch. This is Yuma. So I live in Nottingham. I went to uni in Birmingham. And I live with my rescue dog, Yuma, and my partner, Tim. Yuma is like a 30-kilo rescue dog who likes to sit on your lap and basically be right next to you all the time. And if you have a camera, he likes to be almost in front of it, but mostly on you and licking your face, which is gross. So we'll leave that to the side. So I'm really grateful to work for the company I work for. When I was looking for grad schemes, it's very easy after 3 years of living off of student loans and noodles to look at a grad scheme that will pay you well. What I learned when I was going through my interviews and through the assessment days was to look for the culture that would really suit me and to look for a job that would allow me to do what I want to do in a way that would allow me to grow. What I'd love to do is to encourage you today, for those of you that are looking for jobs, that are thinking about what you want to do when you finish uni, and for those of you that are already in the career or on the path to the career that you want, be really wary of the culture you pick, not just the role you pick and for the money. Someone once said recently at Capital One that the standard you walk past is the standard you accept. When you accept a role, make sure it's the culture that will really empower you. And one of the reasons I love events like this is it shows the types of companies that are empowering women in technology and really supporting that growth. So I work in security, not this security, this is Mordek. I'll give you a second to read it. This is the kind of security where things just get really awful. This is like when you sign up to Facebook and it tells you you need a password, but it also tells you that your password has to be 14 characters long, contain 4 symbols, have low letters that follow another letter and have 6 numbers, but none of the numbers can be the same number and it gets very, very confusing. So I don't quite work in that security. I don't work in this security, although I find this incredibly interesting. And I don't work in this security. For those of you that might have heard of this, this is the Guardians of Peace hack on Sony. Well, actually, I kind of work in all 3 types of security, and I realized that I'm the kind of person that will take the first one, which is the bit where the rest of you probably find security really boring, and I'll hear about Anonymous, and I'll hear about hacks like this, and I just kind of think that they're really cool. And then I realize I work in an environment where I get so excited about it, and so insanely excited that I'm kind of like Will Ferrell in Elf. And what it showed me is the importance of finding a subject that you're so incredibly passionate about and so excited about that anyone else would find boring, but you have a way of talking about it and making it sound exciting. Make sure that you find that thing that makes you really excited. One of the things that I love are animals. You've seen Yuma. Think for Tigers is a really cool project where it takes things that people were really excited about and uses technology to change and to address a problem. What Think for Tigers does is it takes people who work in all types of technology and science and addresses a problem, and that problem is the number of tigers in the wild. And what they're doing at the moment is they're creating agile groups of people to solve a problem. And it's a really interesting problem. The prize, you get to fly out to India, just so you know, and track tigers. Competitions like this are running all the time, and it's a really great way to marry up a passion with technology. There are people at the moment that are using drones to address this problem. There are people that are looking at open data sets and how they can look at what they know about tigers already and how they act to try and work out how they can better protect them. It's really important to find something that you're passionate about and understand how you can marry that with technology. One of my friends is passionate about cars and technology. He works for Formula One now, and what he does is he looks at the data from drives and looks at how he can help drivers get faster and faster by looking at the pure maths and the data behind how they take their turns, how fast they're going. So there are really cool ways you can marry up the technology. So what I want to do is talk you through a couple of steps that I think have been really important to me, and things that I wish I knew 18 months ago, and things that I wish I knew yesterday. And the first one is drop the identifier. I am so guilty of introducing myself as the grad, and then it follows me, very much like this little girl is absolutely terrified of her shadow. I realised that introducing myself as the grad, or the newbie, or I'm going to sit in the corner of the room because I don't know much about this subject, is actually really dangerous, because that defines you, and all of a sudden a comment about you, and not necessarily about your capability, defines you. So the first thing I want to tell you is just be really wary of how you introduce yourself. I've learned now to not introduce myself as, hi, I'm Tash, I'm the grad, but hi, I'm Tash, or I work in a subject, or I'm an engineer. It's really important to be careful around how you're not defined by your role type. I've had a lot of different role names since I joined Capital One. I've only been there 18 months. I was grad program, I've been an architect, I've been a technology architect, I've been in the security team, I've been an application security member, cloud security, I think most recently security engineer. But my job type and what I've been doing is mostly been the same. And I've learned not to be defined and constrained by just a name, but rather understand what my capabilities are and to follow that. The second one is to surround yourself with great people. I love gifts. I love that Amy used gifts earlier. So one of the things I've learned is that having great people behind you and next to you can be really empowering. Making sure you have mentors and use mentors. Find someone that inspires you and challenges you, and follow them. I went to a job interview once when I was at uni, and it was for a promotion. And they said to me, what will you do if you don't get it? And I was like, I will follow him. And they were like, whoa. And what I meant was, I will learn from that person. So if I don't get it, if I'm not quite the right person, I'm going to find someone that challenges and inspires me to be better, and I'm going to follow them. But you also need those people that are going to bring you up. One of the things that I felt when I joined Capital One was that I didn't deserve to be there. There's quite a lot of times, and you might find it in your career, where you realize that you're the only girl in the room, or you're the youngest in the room, or you're the newest member in the room, or you're the only person from a different team in the room, and it can feel very much like an imposter. The imposter syndrome is a real thing. A lot of you might have experienced it, where you think that you don't really have anything to anything to add of value, because everyone knows what you know. But actually it's not true. Everyone has something to offer, even if it's a fresh perspective. You'd be surprised how many companies have been doing what they do for a really long time because it works, and they're afraid of trying something different because they know what works, or they tried it and it was different, but it was 25 years ago and it didn't work. So don't be afraid to step out. You have absolutely got something to offer. All of us have got something to change and some value to give to our companies. Last year I was insanely honoured to be part of an event called Hack Cancer. Hack Cancer is a hackathon. I love hackathons, and I would encourage all of you, literally all of you, no matter what you do in your day-to-day, to go to a hackathon. I think some of you might have been to Hack Cancer. Hack Cancer is held at Google Campus in Shoreditch. What hackathons taught me is that there are an insane amount of technology and things that you can learn from being part of an event like that. At Hack Cancer, we got a group of people together, and we asked them to create something that could help aid in the diagnosis, treatment, and recovery for cancer patients. It was a really fun event. We learned a lot, and what was really exciting about it is that we got a lot of people that wouldn't usually have necessarily come to an event like that, because they were put off by hackathons, or they were put off by not necessarily knowing very much. And actually, these people were insanely smart. One of the teams that came to the hackathon were in their first year of university, and our event was in October, so they'd only been in uni for, I think, 2.5 weeks, or 3 weeks. And they'd had 3 lectures in Python, and they decided that for what they wanted to do, Python was the best language, so they basically learned Python for their project, which was insane. But actually, hackathons are such a great opportunity to learn new things. What I've noticed, and what I think we need to encourage more companies to do, and as women and young people going into the industry, one of the things that we can do is encourage companies to be less afraid of picking up these new technologies. One of the cool things about being at events like this is you see people embracing cloud-based technology. You see people using open data sets. You see people building their own APIs rather than using others. And it's a really exciting way to look at how you can not only better your own knowledge in technology, but learn a lot more about what's out there and what's in industry. Some of the stuff that people made was really incredible. We had one group that looked at open data sets and how cancer is being treated around the world. And they created a program and an algorithm that allowed you to type in the type of cancer that you were treating. along with what you were treating it with, and to see the success rates based on age, gender, and diversity type. So it was really exciting, and we got to make some really cool products. Steve Jobs once said, here's the crazy ones, the square pegs and the round holes, and he goes on to say, don't be afraid by the mold that you don't fit in, because there is still a place for you, and you're the ones that will change the world. He says that the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones that usually do. Don't be afraid by going to events like these, the ones where you feel like you've got a crazy idea. These are the places for you. My generation and the generation before me, we absolutely have no hold on the imagination and ambition of those that are yet to come, or on our own. There is no stopping or no holding and creating a mold for your imagination and the innovation types that you can come up with. There's so much cool stuff that you can do. Stuff happens. So when I was at the hackathon, someone came up to me and said, why don't you have more extension leads? And I was like, well, we have like 40 extension leads, and there's only 35 people here so far. And he was like, you need more. And it was very intimidating and a little bit scary. But stuff comes up. There's been times when I've been in a meeting and I felt like it's been going really well, and then something comes up and it changes direction. Things will come up. There will always be people in front. There will always be things that change. Things will be different. The challenge is in how you handle it and how you move from there. Comparison is the thief of joy. When things come up, when people jump in front of you, when things change, it's really important not to compare yourself to someone else, to compare yourself to the success of someone else or the challenge or the difference. There will always be people in front, but there are absolutely always things you can learn. I once heard someone say that if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. It's a really interesting message. I'm not always sure if it's the right message, but it highlights a really important part, which is that there are always things you can learn. And if you're at a point where you think there is nothing you can learn from the people you're in the room with, then you need to go sit by yourself. There's going to be a whole lot of nope. I have a mug at home with a whole lot of nope written on it, and sometimes I feel like carrying it around with me. It doesn't matter what you say sometimes. People are going to make you feel not great. Eleanor Roosevelt once said that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. I humbly disagree. I think that sometimes people can make you feel awful without you really wanting them to. But the challenge and the gold, as it were, is in how you handle it and what you do with it, how you move on from that, how it builds you, if it becomes character-defining or character-destroying. You will get a whole lot of note, and you'll be trying to do something beautiful or lovely, or it might be a strange idea or a silly idea. It might not even be that smart, but sometimes people won't tell you in a nice way. The challenge is in using that as a pivot point. Someone once said that the failure is just an essential part of stripping away the inessential. I think that might even be my next point. Rock bottom is a solid foundation. If you hit rock bottom, that's fine. It's a solid foundation from which to start again. Be really wary of those times when people say no, and don't let it destroy you. Understand the value in it, and understand the value in the points people are trying to give to you, but don't let it destroy you. Finally, run with it. I love this one. When someone asked me to do Hack Cancer, I was terrified. These things happen, it can get really unnerving, because there might be a lot happening. You might be changing technology stacks. You might be asked to learn a new language. Run with it. I went to a hackathon not that long ago where someone decided to learn Ruby, and in my head I was like, why would you learn Ruby? But actually they were doing some really cool stuff with Chef, and the fact that they wanted to pick up and embrace a new type of technology is really exciting. No matter where you are in your career, whether you're at the beginning, you're the middle, or you're really progressing, don't forget to pick up new opportunities and run with them. Don't be terrified because it's a completely different type of technology or it's a different experience. Be ready and feel free to run with it. This is a point that was mentioned by our CEO at Capital One, and it's all your assumed constraints are debatable. If I could leave you with anything today, and I imagine I've probably said that about 4 times, take this one point. But all your assumed constraints are absolutely debatable. There is so much worry around things that we do, what people will think of us, how we will look. there's so much confusion around if we're good enough. It's such a shame when people don't hold themselves up to the same esteem that they're seen in. So remember that all your assumed constraints are debatable. When you're working on your final year project, when you're working for an interview or your job, anything that's holding you back, it's not necessarily there. Let it be up for argument, let it be up for a challenge, because you can do so much better. And finally, enjoy it. I find talks like this incredibly intimidating, and I get really nervous. The run-up beforehand, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, I'll be really excited, and on the day, I'm like, why would I do this? And then afterwards, there's a bit of a high, but most importantly, I realized that I really love what I do. I love working in security. I get insanely excited about hacks, because I just think it's insane. And when recently there was a hack in a company sent all of their customers emails to all of their customers, and then people kept replying on. I thought it was hilarious, and I was like, can you believe they were breached? And then I realized that I was so passionate about something that everyone thinks is really boring. But I love that I get excited about it. I get excited about women in tech events because there's so much power in it. There's so much promise in the idea that we can help bring a diversity of thought and such a change to the industry. It's a great area to work in, and if we were going to stand up in front of you today and tell you that it will be easy, the journey won't be easy. But it will absolutely, without doubt, be worth it. I love working in technology. I couldn't imagine myself working anywhere else, and I know that no matter where I go in my career going from now, I'm always going to bring a bit of technology with me, and I'm probably going to be a pain in the ass for it. But enjoy it, enjoy today. Get as much out of it as you can. Ask crazy questions. The most stupid question is the one that you didn't ask. And have a great time. Thank you.